I want to end up at this bit of the field, and we'll do that bit, and then we'll come back doing that bit. And then when we get here, we can run down there and do that bit and come back doing that bit. And then we can do the alternates through here. And we'll do that bit going that way and then finish it off coming back. And we'll end up around here and then do the headlands. And we need to get back in the tractor because we're getting towards the top of the field. So each row's about 1%. I'm guessing there's not 100 rows here. I haven't watched Tom Pemberton's last video, which was something about doing fences. Honestly, I can't remember what his last one was. I think he was moving cows around. He was something about cows. Also didn't check our animals. How are our animals looking? So we've still got about 50% food there, health 100. And cows, we've got quite a low capacity, but we do have meadow. Hay, they're healthy, they're producing milk, that's fine. Sheeps, we have 100% health, they're fed, and horses, I did put some barley in, bought 4,000 litres, so they're all good. And we'll probably have to buy some more barley, but I do believe that says blah, blah, blah. Horses, oh no, oats. We bought some oats, and they like sorghum, which I assume is also base food, which is why I'm thinking I want to plant some sorghum. I think chickens like that too. So having a supply of sorghum on the farm is going to be beneficial since we are not wholly an arable farm. Didn't check on the wool. So we've got all of that. Actually, we can check on the wool there. Best time to sell wool is May. Best time to sell most of our stuff is January, except liquid fertilizer. That's not a product. Diesel. Eggs is November, which is next month. So we should sell 377 litres of eggs. Woo-woo. That's going to bring in so much money. I doubt. Okay, cultivator's now at 67%. So he's rocking through this now. How are we doing with seeds? 75%, and we are not quite 10%. We are going to need more seeds, obviously. That's fine. I kind of expected we're going to need more seeds in this thing. Eventually, we might be able to get one of those big air carts. It carries like 12,000 litres of seed and stuff. Solid fertilizer. Undecided about solid fertilizer at this point. We might, yeah, I might. Our planter does take fertilizer. So we've got the booster tank for the front. So if I'm going to be planting sorghum and soybeans next year, it does mean I don't need this next year for my stuff, unless I buy new fields. And there's the potential. We've got about 150,000 if we sell the wheat and the corn. I don't think I'm going to sell. I'm going to hold the wheat off until next year, when we've harvested sorghum. Then we'll sell whatever wheat we have left over. And it's all sort of strange progressions. So if I make 110, 120 from the corn, we've already got, I think the 2 contracts we're doing are worth about 150 when they're finished, and the seeds are not costing that much. So potentially we've got another 150,000, which would put us on 250, which is a good thing. So I might be able to afford a field over winter. $250 plus the corn would be about 350. There is potential. Okay. I guess we'll see how that works out. I guess it doesn't really matter if we do that bit or the bit over there first. I'd like to do the bit over there first because it'll make me feel better as the contract runs off. So what is there in the realms of, can I switch? Yes. The big cedars. So that's what we've got. It's actually quite a substantial cedar. That is 9 meters. There's the Bednar, which is a big tank, also 9 meters. There's the Amazon, which is 15 meters. So I could look at bringing in some huge, great hulking monstrosity, like the thing that Millennial Farmer has. Well, not even that, because he doesn't have any attached carts to it. But I haven't loaded any of those in on mods, although I do believe I don't know if I've downloaded any because of my preference for smaller farms. They don't usually bring in, is it the Thunderhawk seed drill or whatever? Don't usually bother loading those because I'm never going to use them on an English farm. So why would I? But, on this map, they might be incredibly useful. Okay. So that's the end of that row. I guess I'm doing the top. Well, that made my decision for me. I do like how there's momentum on those trailing wheels. And station. Stick them on the ground. Immediately grab in. And when you lower the dude, carry on spinning until the momentum runs out. Which is, that's nice. It's a nice touch. Once again, it doesn't make the game more playable or anything like that, but it's a thing. Okay, how are we doing? 10:40 already. Probably not going to get these contracts done. Game time is 2 o'clock. So, that's the next row. And going to struggle up the hill for a while. Is any new sales items come out? No, things have fallen off. The 230 horsepower Deutz is... actually, that's only 10% off. So that's just a cheap, generally cheap tractor because of its age. Okay, so as we work our way across that way, the rows are going to be progressively longer until they're same length as the ones we already did in the main body of the field. So we'll be travelling quicker again. And raise that up. So nice not having walls at the edge of the field. Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I am thinking that I don't want to follow that too closely. So this is an 8-metre cedar, which means our headland is 16 metres wide. I do believe that the cedar they gave us for this contract, had we decided to use it, would have been 12 metres, which means a double headland would be 24 metres. So when you get to the end of the row, you see where the texture changes from rows to around the headland here. That's probably still 24 metres to the edge of the field. And I do actually need to run that little bit further. If I'd done 3 metres, I could use the ground texture as guide to where I want to be planting. But not with this cedar. But I have sort of kind of been using it, so as I said, I might want to switch this to 3 headlands when I get to the end. I'd probably don't, actually. The more you think about it, the more it's like, probably don't, because we don't have to be perfect because it's a contract. We just have to be close enough. Which I think is about 90% of the field, 95% of the field planted. Only 15% done. I might need eight more pallets of seed to finish this. What do we think? If 4 is, well, I don't know. Let's say 4 pallets is going to be 20%. Is that right? Or am I 50%? Yeah, might be 2 pallets, it's 20%. Oh, I don't know. It's math. Saturday. I don't have to do math on... Well, I probably do have to do math on Saturday when I get down on the railway. But anyway. So 15%. We're still 57. If I get down to 50% of the seeder, that is 2 pallets of seed for whatever I've done so far. And don't know that I'm going to be at 20% done. But a full tank would then be 40% done. So I would need 6 more pallets to finish if I'm at 20% when this is done. When we're halfway. Let's say. Okay. Boop. Go. Okay. 55%. And that's the other thing. When you're doing 50% or every other row, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Without that little banner at the top telling me I'm 16% through, I wouldn't have a clue how far we've got. The only reliable point is once I've done every other row and I'm at the end of the field, I'm halfway. No, I'm not even halfway, because then you've got to add the headlands back in. So, yeah. More math. Don't want to do math. We'll just drive. So on YouTube, a lot of the railway modelers I watch are obviously stepping up the number of videos they're doing because it's kind of summertime and it's, well, sometimes not bad weather for working in the attic or the basement or whatever. Although most of them will generally do spring and fall uptick in videos and work done. Unfortunately, 2 of them used to watch a guy called Glebe Road, and he dropped off the face of the earth. And I had problems with my Cytec side panel and steering wheel for Farm Sim back in 2017. And who was it? Cytec wanted me to provide evidence that it wasn't working, so I had to post a video to YouTube. And Glebe Road or Glebe Road Junction, whatever his handle was, he was one of the people who happened across that video and said, I'm having the same issues. So I then said, hey, you used to do model trains and I haven't seen you around for a long time. He said, yeah, we moved. I had to take it all down. So I don't think he got back into it. Or if he did, he doesn't produce videos on his new layout, which was a shame. His modelling skills were quite impressive. Oops. And he was doing some very realistic modelling. So that was a shame. But there's then there's Dave, who used to be Dave Class 47. He changed the name of his layout to, I think, Waverley Place or something like that, which is the station in Edinburgh, which he's loosely based his around. And the other guy is Richard, who is can't remember. He does 1980s British Rail Western region, I believe. But he had a very nice layout, which he was building in the attic of his parents' house, and unfortunately, the temperatures and changes in sort of moisture, it could get very hot and damp up there during the summer. It warped all the wood, and so unfortunately he had to rip the entire thing up and start again. So he started again, and he was getting on really well, but he's now bought himself a house. So one, he doesn't have as much money to invest in model railway, and two, he's got to start all over again. I don't know whether his new house has adequate space for it. So he's not producing videos. So I'm having to find lots of new people to watch. And then Frontington and Backwards Railway. He was coming on quite well. His philosophy is to do things on the cheap, so not necessarily buy official branded model railroad stuff, but make do with, do-it-yourself scenery pieces. So instead of buying bags of flock for quite exorbitant prices, you can buy a couple of sponges at the dollar store and shred them up and dunk them in green paint, and they work just as well because that's effectively what flock is. So lots of cheap ways of doing things. But I think a couple of months ago he released a video saying he was moving to a new home. He released a video this week where he's now got a backyard, and the previous owner had a construction in the backyard, dog cages for his dogs, and so this guy demolished the shed, had someone come in to demolish the shed and build a concrete slab, and then he's erected a shed, which unfortunately, as he put it, the lumber he bought is full of holes. So the shed now the shed building is there, but he said it looks like someone shot at it with a submachine gun because there's so many holes in it. So he's going to have to seal up the holes. So his channel is, at least for the next few months, is not going to be how to build a model railway, but more how to build a shed to put a model railway in. He's got to get someone in to put the electrics in, and he's got to insulate it and all the things before he can even start building. So, at prime time for building model railways, there's a couple of guys I like to watch who aren't producing videos at this time. But, as I said, I'm finding other people to watch. So, and was it one of them, Charlie, Chadwick Railway? He's building his station at the moment, which is quite handy because I'm at that stage. So his videos are quite appropriate for where the stage I'm at. I mean, his railway is quite mature. He's been working on it for many, many years. It'll be a few years ago he figured out that he couldn't continue with the roundy thing because eventually he was going to have to, or he was going to be old enough that bending over to crawl underneath to get to the middle wasn't going to be an easy thing for him, and I understand that too. So he built a 3/4 round the wall with helices, I guess it is, a helix at each end, which takes the trains down to a lower level where all his storage sidings are. So he's got storage sidings underneath the railway, and then a helix to bring you up to the scenery bit and back again, and then down the other helix to the bottom. So he had to change things around. He's finally got onto his main station, Chadwick Parkway, which I think was sort of partially laid out, but then with the changes, he kind of had to alter other bits, and so he's been concentrating. He's a little bit like me. I want to get 2 loops so I can have trains running around while I'm doing other things if I feel like it. The detail's not there, but and he does bits. So he's got a viaduct over a valley. He did that. That's all technically complete, but he might come back and take bits out, put new bits in. It's the way that model railway guys do things. It's like, yeah, I did this and I'm not really happy with it, so I'm going to rip that out and change it a bit. But at the moment, his viaduct is probably his oldest finished piece. Finished in quotes. And then he's built a branch line station with a small freight yard. So that's somewhat done. There's still some work for that to do on that, and all of the approach between the big viaduct and that station is done. Then he went off and worked on a train maintenance depot, at least where the track was going, although the buildings aren't there yet. It's like, yeah, well, we put all the track in, but the buildings aren't there yet. Then he put in a bigger freight yard, at least the track. So he's kind of concentrating on getting the tracks on the boards, and then filling in the scenery as at a later stage. Now I'm at a point where I've got the 2 big circles. I could do scenery anywhere, but if I want to make it easy for myself, one side of the layout is 5 foot deep and the other side is 3 foot deep, so I can